Today, I'm inspired in my defiance by the fact that the USS Gerald R. Ford has been deployed to Latin American waters. It has been deployed in the guise of an anti-drug campaign against Venezuela. It doesn't seem like speculation at this point that we are going to enter into an armed conflict with a South American country. And my defiance comes in the form of questioning the narrative. I am not interested in conspiratorial thinking or in trying to say that this is just a distraction from the domestic issues of the shutdown or the Epstein files or anything else that is causing Donald Trump to have the worst polling numbers of his second presidency. I have seen exactly zero proof that any of the extrajudicial killings off the coast of Venezuela have anything to do with this anti-drug campaign. Asking for the American people to trust that they have our best interests at heart is a huge thing to be asking right now. We know that our largest drug problem, which is fentanyl, is not coming from Venezuela. We know that the massive overdoses are not being engineered by these mysterious cartels. And pushing for a regime change or large-scale military conflict is too much without any evidence. The truth is not whatever you say it is. The truth is backed up with facts. It is a case that you make to the American people. And I'd like to go back in history to talk about the cases that have been made and just how wrong they have been, even when we have been asked to trust that the military has gotten it right. I was in college during the War on Terror right after 9/11. In fact, the second week that I was in college was September 11th, 2001. And the case that was being made about the weapons of mass destruction, about the fact that we needed to de-Ba'athify Iraq, even though the vast majority of the hijackers were Saudis and came from a very specific, tight-knit group. The case for war was made, and in large part, the American people bought into it. Certainly, there were people who pushed back, but at least the case was being made. At least there were folks in front of Congress and in front of the American people who were stating why it was that this needed to happen now and why the war was needing to be fought at all. And that's not what's happening right now. There is no one who is making the case logically that this is what needs to happen right now. They are making the case that they have the power to do it, but they are not making the case that this is the most urgent need we have for our military and for our energies. Now, I'm not a military mastermind, and I don't have a huge amount of strategy under my belt, but neither do the leaders who are saying this is what needs to happen. Pete Hegseth does not have that kind of pedigree. He does not have that kind of expertise, and he certainly does not have the trust of the American people. And I think the idea that we would trust them to go to war is flabbergasting, and it is just plain wrong. Alternatively, I'm inspired in my reality today by the fact that a judge in Utah is calling out the gerrymandered maps that would allow for more Republican-leaning districts than the population would dictate. Clearly, redistricting is on so many different people's minds, and they're doing it in a lot of different ways across the nation. But the one thing that seems to be ringing true again and again is that overly partisan gerrymandering that eliminates the voice for hundreds, thousands, or even millions of voters is wrong. And it should not be allowed by our judicial system or our legislature. The difference for what happened in California with Prop 50 is that it was put to the voters. It was not a backroom deal. It was not a computer program deciding what the maps should be and then establishing them for the next year's election. Rather, it was a plan put to the voters to allow them to select, at least for the next 5 years, what the districts should look like and how they should behave within the House of Representatives. If this season of mid-census redistricting has taught us anything, it is that we absolutely have to get rid of partisan gerrymanders. We have to let the people choose who their representatives are, and not the representatives choosing who their voters are. And while I have some hope that this one judge in Utah is righting the ship a little bit in that one state, I don't think that it means that we are headed in the right direction until we allow for nonpartisan maps to happen across the country. Because ultimately, we cannot continue to play this game where one party is gerrymandering the states that they already have a significant control in, and the other party is doing the same for their states. We absolutely have to come together as a United States, and we have to understand that this is hurting all of us. Compromise, conversation, and community is what will bring us together. And I know that that's not sexy and that's not the thing of the moment, but it is the thing that is going to save our country in the long run. It is going to stop us from having a civil war. It is going to make so that we don't have to split and divide our attentions into blue states and red states. A United States is the kind of country that I want for my kids, that I want for all of us. Thanks for sticking around for both my defiance and my reality. If you'd like to subscribe, I'd really enjoy that. You can leave a like or a comment and I'll definitely reply. But I'll be here every single weekday, and I hope you will be too.